Next thing I wanted to mention was this. This is pretty cool, right? So this is courtesy of Michael Bibi, the very well-known tech house producer or DJ or whatever you want to call him. And he put this really cool caption or post up on Instagram that was really nice. It says the following. He said, I first met KinAhau, or is that saying KinAhau or KinAhau, after he snuck backstage at one of my shows, handing me a letter explaining it had a USB stick with music inside. Receiving USBs is normal, but the letter was the most heartfelt thing I've ever received. I prayed the music would be good. It was stacked full of amazing tracks. Yeah, that must be so. It must be a bit of a weird feeling to have in it when you're a DJ. You're a famous DJ, you get loads of people trying to, be your friend. You get loads of people, artists up and coming, trying to pass you promos like USBs or CDs or vinyls. And sometimes you find people who are really nice and you connect with for some reason. And then they give you music and the music's terrible, and you're like, oh man, I really like you as well, I wanted to hang, but now it makes it awkward because I can't really let you know that your music sucks and you should give it up and just look for another job, but I still want to hang, and it puts you in a weird position. So when you do find somebody that you legitimately clicked with and they actually do good stuff, it's quite, it's a big relief. Let's just say that it's a big relief. It continues here. One of the songs was using an exact same sample of a track I was already working on with Audio Bullies. If I'm honest, his vocal arrangement was better than mine. I knew I had to call him and ask him to join me on the track immediately. Today the song is number 3 in the Beatport charts. What an amazing story. This random person who written a really nice heartfelt message here, as you can see there on the thing. It's a guy, Michael, he's from Amsterdam, he's writing him a message, giving him the USB, really, really sweet. That's really cool to see. And now that track they've made together is now number 3 on Beatport charts. He said he's young, extremely talented kid with virtually no professional releases under his belt before this. So I wanted to do the right thing and hopefully help him achieve his dreams as a young touring producer and DJ. I love how he put touring. Ladies and gentlemen, meet KinAhau. So this is really nice of Michael Bibi. Like, he really putting his arm around this kid and giving him the biggest promo ever. This is great to see. But it also made me think, why don't we see this more often in the DJ culture or DJs in general? For whatever reason, I think in every other part of music, even hip-hop being an obvious example of it, of the cosign, the arm around the shoulder, we see people always kind of lifting people up or bringing them in, but we rarely see it with DJs. Like, we rarely see somebody prominent kind of plucking somebody up and coming and deciding to take them on tour with them, use them as an opening, or maybe just kind of, get them some gigs here and there. It's not something that happens quite often. It's a very because even for myself, kind of, being an up and coming DJ in that regard, it's a very singular profession, and it's also a very kind of closed profession. Like, once you're in the inside and you're somebody that's touring and you're going to, you're DJing at the same club as everybody else, you're probably bumping into people at airports, suddenly everyone's your friend. But when you're out of that circle and you're not really booked, you're not really out there in the festival circuit, you're not in the main big clubs, it kind of feels like you're not really part of the conversation. You kind of feel a little bit out there, and it's kind of hard to get in, especially if you don't have an agent or you don't have any tracks and stuff and whatnot, or maybe if you don't look a particular way. All those kind of things might play into it, or maybe just timing as well overall, or maybe just a fundamental thing, talent, who knows. But it's very difficult to kind of get in. But once you are in, you're in. But it's very rare that you see somebody on the inside, like a very prominent person, say, hey, let me bring you forward. The only thing I can think of as an example is when a DJ might launch a label, and then they might kind of, sign producers, but then push the producers to start DJing, because that's a good way to kind of get your songs out there. But rarely do I kind of think of seeing a big prominent person. If like a good example would be, imagine somebody prominent gets booked, like a Gerd Jansen gets booked to play at a party somewhere. Whoever's promoting the party, they have their own DJs that they kind of use as residents. Gerd Jansen is gonna play the main set, but he's hanging around and here's the person playing before them and they're amazing. And he says, hey, I think I might actually want to get you on board with running back or something. Do you know what I mean? Or kind of introduce you to my booking person. It rarely happens. It's just, you book Gerd Jansen. Gerd Jansen comes, plays, slays with his little cravat and scarf on, does his thing, drinks his water and goes home. There's rarely, if ever, an opportunity to kind of be like, hey, I'm up and coming. Can you help me this, help me that? And I imagine even if you do ask for the help, you're probably met with like being left on scene, people not following through. It's a bit brutal. So So for someone like a Michael Bibi, who's huge, he's like really, really big. I think, you know, his followers must be in the millions now, because I've known of him for a while, but his followers definitely must, okay, it's close to millions, 800,000 for like a, what you'd call a bit of a niche tech house sort of DJ. For him to be at that level means he's really, really well known. So for him to do this just goes to show like how much of a decent human being he is, to go out of his way and do something like this. Is really, really cool. And we continue on. We see here a picture of the kid that made the track. He probably called him. We see a sample of them in the studio making the track. We get another page here.
Told you, there's things I haven't told you. There's things I haven't told you. I go out late at night.
Nice.
I haven't told you.
Another picture as well with him, obviously, behind the scenes with Michael Bibi, who's got good taste wearing Vetements. So big up Biggie for wearing Vetements. It's not them in the era, but it's still good enough regardless. But also another thing to kind of note of this shouldn't be an opportunity or an encouragement for everyone to do this. This is just something that's kind of in your destiny. I don't think people should always copy someone else's approach to making it. This is just something that kind of was always destined for this kid to make it this way, to basically write, you know, Michael Bibi this really heartfelt message, and then he would have saw this message and then they kind of gone from there. This is always his path to go. It's not for someone else to kind of copy and kind of try and do the same thing, because I know that's what's going to happen. Many people, he probably should put a disclaimer in this caption, and it wouldn't surprise me if he does it in the next few days. Like, hey, edit, please refrain from sending me messages and, you know, kind of letters pleading for help and whatnot, and telling me about all your problems, or sending me a GoFundMe link. Like, no. This is definitely his story of getting forward. But like I said, I would love to see, I would love there to be more of this going forward. But I just think for whatever reason, DJing is somewhat of a very singular profession, and it's very singular in terms of how people even just approach it. There is no real bringing in with people. People are quite selfish with the opportunity. No, I wouldn't say selfish is a bad word to say, because it feels like you're owed it. No one's owed anything. No one should be giving you anything. But it just from observing, even taking away my kind of desire to be one myself and how I'm kind of pursuing it, just looking at it from a punter's point of view, there's very rarely like people kind of reaching back and sort of bringing people up. It doesn't really happen for the most part, which is odd, but I'm sure there's a reason behind it. But I was thinking to myself, thinking, oh, this is pretty cool, and I would love this as well to happen to me. But the one thing that I would love more so to happen to me, if I ever had the opportunity to bump into Michael Bibi, is definitely to do something like this with Michael Bibi. This is definitely what I would be interested in, right? This is what I'll be interested in. And this is a clip of Michael Bibi playing in his home, I think at the time, or maybe a studio, but this was during the lockdown, during the pandemic is when I kind of discovered him actually, and he was really holding us down, I think, during the pandemic. Him and a few other people in the tech house scene doing these kind of live streams and whatnot, where you could kind of party at home and, you know, have a good time or whatnot. And he did this really cool mix, which is called Michael Bibi Isolate. It was a Michael Bibi Isolate number 5 live stream, True Isolation. And there's a particular part in this live stream where he seems to disappear to maybe do some stuff that I am a fan of doing, and it seems to be a good time. And this is definitely what I would like to do if I ever met Michael Bibi, instead of writing him, you know, heartfelt messages, because I don't write heartful messages to anybody. I wonder what's down there. I wonder what's down there. I wonder what's down there, eh? I wonder what's down there. Whatever was down there, it kind of brings a little bit of allergies, you know. It's kind of it's somewhat of an allergy causer, right? It causes you to maybe scratch your nose, rub it, sneeze a little bit, whatever it may be. But that's what definitely I'd like to do if I ever bumped into Michael Bibi. But yeah, big up Michael Bibi regardless. That was super sweet of him, and big up the kid. How do you pronounce his name? I should keep forgetting it here. It's KinAhau. The track is out now at the moment if you do want to check it out. Actually, let's double check his Instagram to see what the track is called. I forgot the name of it. The track is called where is it? Is this the one? I think this is the one here. I got it on screen. That's the track, right? Michael Bibi, Audio Bullies. Different side. You see my different side. There's things I haven't told you. I go out late at night. Big up him. That sounds absolutely amazing. So cool. Big up him. KinAhau. Check him out. He's only on 5,000 followers now. I'm sure once he starts getting bookings and whatnot and playing in places, he's going to absolutely shoot up, and you'll see this go to flipping crazy places. So big up KinAhau, big up Michael Bibi for putting that together. Absolutely amazing to see. impossible to hate.